we've had some question in our fleet about how to run the Datacore tool. They just recently updated it. There's one little thing that I am not 100% sure of. Okay, so it does automatically. So the calculator now automatically updates rules out any crew that don't have multiple options, which is fantastic. So we're going to go to player tools and fleet boss battles, and I'm going to clear. I've been running this, so we're going to clear a player data. So this is what you'll see. Now, the first thing you want to do is grab your player data, and you want to open that in a new incognito window, or just hold down on it and copy link. Open a new incognito or private window, depending on what is called in your browser. You always want to do this in a private window because caching will sometimes mess this up. I'm gonna put in my info, and here we go. I've got my my player data, and I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to go. Okay, so I'm back in Datacore. I'm going to paste that. Now the computers, I'm on a Mac, and it doesn't really matter if you're on a Mac or PC. You'll be able to copy the full shebang. It doesn't. It's not. It does not care. What they basically runs the same on Mac or PC. It does run differently on Android and Apple iOS devices. And I will go through both of those too in a separate video. But for this, a lot of our work's being done for us because it's ruling out anything that doesn't have a duplicate. And hopefully it's taking into consideration whether those duplicates are in the portal, because it only allows portal crew to be considered when it's looking at duplicates. Now, one of the things by default, it's going to bring you in the groups view and just going to have hide non-optimal crew checked. I don't like either of those options because it's harder to see across when you're in the grouped view. You can play with figure out what you like. But for me, I mean, this is nice because I can see all at once, like what's here. But when I'm in the crew mode and on this tab, I can actually see across traits what they fill, and traits mode is similar. It's just a little more like, I don't know. This is my favorite mode. That's how I suggest running it. I also suggest unchecking hide non-optimal crew. If we check right now, there are 8 pages. If I hide uncheck hide non-optimal crew, it blows out to 18 pages, which means there's like over half of the crew that are possible to complete these nodes are being hidden because they are quote unquote suboptimal or non-optimal. But that's a lot of crew that people might have if I'm trying to post in a crew list. Plus, it allows you to rule out crew. Like if you're hiding non-optimal crew, if there's a crew that has 3 options and there's another crew that only has 2 of those options, it will hide the one with 2 options. So you will only be showing the one with 3 traits. Here it lists that this is non-optimal because there's obviously somebody who's already pilot Starfleet. Plus, like here you can already see chances taken Kirk. Here's an excellent example: pilot Starfleet and resourceful. So if I was to hide non-optimal crew, I wouldn't see Torias Bashir, and I want to be able to rule out it based on pilot and Starfleet. So we're going to look at first thing, go into the list and see who's been run already. It looks like, okay, Susmana Sarek. Okay, so Susmana Sarek is not an option anymore. Triple Phlox isn't in the list. Homesteader is not an option. She was already run and failed. So we can add her to the list of crew already tried. And then we're gonna X out on the clear the search and go see if anybody else tried. Okay, Festive Justia Dax was run. Festive, she failed. They failed. Sato, Professor Sato was run. Janeway, yeah, Cheerful Janeway seems like a kind of an odd option to run, but that's fine. Just given the ring now, but yeah. Also, okay, Jazz. Musician Riker failed. Lieutenant Sahil failed. And Holodeck 3 Brams. Stranded Craft failed. So we're getting a nice little list whittling down. We were at 18 pages. We're at 5 pages now, just based on things that people have run. Okay, so first thing I do is I check. I click on these. I'm looking for crews that have a lot of traits or crew that fulfill across that have possibilities for multiple nodes, especially if they have the ability to solve multiple across multiple traits. Like this Solar Sail Cisco would be a good one because he's got not only he's got 3 traits on human, plus he's got a trait on inspiring. I just don't know what the deal is with this alpha exception. It seems to be some rule that I'm not aware of, and so as such, I don't trust it yet. That may change depending on how it plays out. So those are all the options for inspiring. So I'm probably going to run. I'm going to go ahead and tell them I'm running in the fleet chat, and then I'm going to look at human. I like these ones with 3 traits. Okay, so as normally I'm used to having to weed out anybody that doesn't have 2 options, but it's already doing that for me, which is great. Now we're going to check exobiology plus federation. Not many options here. This is good. So I can actually hit all of the options with returning Saru. So I know that he's going to fill that. Also, if I look at the trait list, it doesn't tell me anything. There's nothing in the trait list that says that any of these traits have to be used. So it's going to be one of these some combination of the 2 of these 3 traits. So we're going to run returning Saru, and I just use a little notepad to just jot down returning Saru. And then I liked when I was back here, I liked that Solar Sail Cisco. And then let's look at what the traits that actually has Solar Sail Cisco has. Is it resourceful Starfleet Bajoran? Okay, so I don't understand this alpha exception thing. It's driving me nuts, but so resourceful is redundant, but communicator and writer are different for Hubert Rousseff or Douglas Pabst. That would make them good options to run. Courier Burnham does have resourceful and Starfleet, but has courier. So that would give her courier plus resourceful or courier plus Starfleet that the other ones didn't have. So I may run. I'm probably going to run. I'll just run Rousseff. And then the other thing I like to do is see if there's any crew that I have that have unique or that have rare combinations like these pilot plus warp theorists. Everybody who's played for a little bit has mirrors from Cochran or Phoenix Cochran, or especially Phoenix Cochran from the first contact day events or giveaways or whatever. So I'm not that worried about. This is a rare combination, pilot plus warp theorist. That's why the warp theorist is in purple, but not that worried about it being the fill. But if I have one there's only like a couple options on, and it's a card that I think that other people are likely to not have, that's another one that I would be more likely to run. Since I'm running Solar Shell Cisco, he's going to knock out a ton of those with Bajoran Starfleet. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that that 3-option Courier Burnham for my final. So Courier Burnham, and then I'm gonna go into my. I run this on my phone typically, sometimes my iPad. My phone's an Android. Okay, so I just picked my 4 crew, and here I am back in the game on my phone now, and I am gonna go put those in instead of filling them in through here. I always fill in through just going directly into the battle and filling them in through here, because I can pick more crew, etc., etc. Now, Rossoff, one advantage of filling in through the main screen is that it automatically unfreezes. So I'm going to go ahead and unfreeze Rossoff using this. But if I needed to, I would just go into the I would just go in through the okay, now everybody else should be already unfrozen, and I'm going to continue, and we see raw stuff pops up on my list. And if we go to my short list, or my list of people I'm going to run, I'm going to run returning Saru, and I'm going to run solar sales, so we're going to run solar. And then I'm going to run Courier Burnham. And then I'm going to engage, and so we'll see what we get. But if you enter it that way, you can always run 4 crew and try with all 4, rather than having to. If there's only 3 nodes, you can only enter 3 crew, and you can't attack multiple one node with multiple crew. If you want to do that. So I just auto this because it's I'm not going to get a lot of damage here. And we see that I hit 2 of my 3. So then I'm going to go ahead and type in which crew I missed with, which is, so I hit with Rossoff and returning, is that right? Okay, returning Sarah. So go into the fleet and say failed, colon, solar sales, Cisco, comma, and then yep. And then I'll show you. I'll jump back over to my Datacore tool and show you how that plays out. Okay, so we're back on the computer. Of course, you can do all this on your phone. It's just a lot more jumping around. I typically, honestly, am not doing it on my computer. I'm doing it on my iPad, but my iPad has really crappy recording options, so I'm doing it here. The and I could do this on my phone, but it just, again, it's more jumping around. So I'm doing the data core on here, and then I'm doing the actual stuff on my phone, and I'll show you how to pull that data file on both the phone and the an iOS device as well. But for right now, I just hit, and I hit with I'm gonna check the crew that I just ran, which is returning Saros, or return he hit, and took me a second. Let's just say it hit with Linguist plus Starfleet, and then Herbert Rossitoff was also hit. Interestingly, we're just going to go ahead and say it was both resourceful and writer. So now if I close this, it should show me my, anyway, if that was the case, these are the options for these would be the options for what's left to run. Now there's already a new thing up, so we'll run one more example, and I'm going to go ahead and jump back to my window and refresh it there we go. So we're on a new chain, and somebody's already run. Actually looks like we may be 2 chains down. People are flying through them pretty quick, so let's see. Yeah, we actually cleared another chain, in fact. So now we're on yet another chain. This is a version chain. Nobody's hit it yet, I don't think. Let me see. Yeah, so somebody's already called running it. I've got this unchecked. It does seem that both the crew that I ran, I don't know if you noticed, but both those crew that I ran that missed, the Solar Sails Cisco and the Courier Burnham, were listed as alpha exceptions. So maybe there's something to that. Although when I do check that hide alpha exception, it says correct solutions may not be listed with selected filters. So I don't know, maybe maybe that's why it's listed as an alpha rule exception. So they don't really have a name for it, and hasn't been defined. But anyway, it is noteworthy that both of those crew that I ran were not in that list, or were marked as alpha exceptions. Both the crew that I failed. So I'm gonna check this out real quick and just see if I was gonna run, who I would run. Of course, I'm gonna wait and see who. So this is Sinister Picard's a good option. He's got 3 traits that cover multiple. Now I'm gonna tentatively say that all in OO is an option too. So all in OO and Sinister Picard, and I'm gonna type that out just so that I can. Okay, and we've got some more interesting ones over here. Scapegoat O'Brien's an interesting one. Julian Bashir has 4, but one of them's marked as an alpha exception, so we'll take that for the grain of salt. Here we have Gangster Spock has 4 options. He's a great Gangster Spock. I'm just kind of like listing out my favorite options here. Katrine's great, except 2 over 5 traits are listed as alpha exceptions, but I'm gonna mark her anyway as a potential. Now I'm gonna run through. I don't think we have anybody here that actually meets criteria across. Here's Carpenter Street T-Pole's another interesting one. Street T. Interestingly enough, these are listed as non-optimal crafty human undercover operative, which probably means there's somebody that's got more. I'm gonna just briefly hide. And one thing you'll notice, unfortunately, if you change any of these filters up here, it will get rid of all your crew that you've already tried. So that's kind of a pain with the Datacore tool, but it's a known limitation. So let's see what we've got so far. We had 2 hits by one person who didn't call that they were going. They did hit Carpenter Street T-pole. They hit it on Costumed and Telepath. And then the guy who called hit Falcon O'Brien on Starfleet and Villain. Okay, now we're going to clear that. Now we're down to this, and I'm going to call that I'm going. Misses were Fury Kess, who must have gotten ruled out, and Grand. Oh, hang on. Fury Kess 2024 Picard, who must have gotten ruled out. And Paxton, who must have gotten rolled out. Okay, so this person is listed for node 4 that it has for node 4 has to be either temporal shift cast or grandmother cast. So we're just gonna say we'll run with grandmother cast. So here's our actual list down here. And I would do this on a notepad if I was up at the kitchen table like I normally am when I do this. Because I just can't really see a notepad. So I'm going to go ahead and check her off. That'll get those 2 traits out of the rotation. And I know that I'm going to run them. And sometimes I will check them off for my own purposes and not run them because I know other people have those crew. Now I'm going to look here and see what we've got left. So let's look at Brutal. Patrol Leland, I wish I had him. He looks like he's got 3 options. Admiral Black, again, I really wish I had him, but he's not a easy one to get. I run a couple 72-hour voyages trying to get him and no dice. Let's look check Gambler. Now I like Katrine still. She was in my original list. One of her traits is human undercover operative. Is listed as now all in OWO. Still one of my ones I like, but this is listed as alpha, so I'm gonna just assume for a second, pretend that is something legit. I'm not sure at this point, and see where crafty and human intersect with. Okay, so oh, here we go. Crafty human and under. Okay, so those are the 2 that, yeah, yeah. So I don't have either of those, unfortunately. So I'm still gonna run all in Owasukun, all in Owasukun, and then let's see who else lines up with stuff. Okay, so human inspiring seems like a good one. Or human undercover operative. I think human undercover operative is one that people are human inspiring. Let's see. Let me look at this. Human inspiring. Oh, that's for Gambler. Okay, so I'm gonna look at whose people are less likely to have. These are some of the human aspiring characters are all people that are less likely to be owned by fleet mates. So I'm gonna go ahead and run I don't know. Katrine will cover human undercover operative. I'm gonna run the human inspiring here, which should clear out that node if this alpha thing is correct. So we're gonna go ahead and run somebody who's unfrozen, ideally. Pull her Janeway. Lyric, Janeway. Okay, so that's our list. So I had a complete brain fart and accidentally ran human plus undercover operative instead of human plus inspiring. But stuff happens. Okay, so we've got our second list. I'm going to go ahead and run them from here, and we'll go ahead and attack, and we're going to run off of the list I just put together, Grandmother Cuss, who actually I'm going to need to unfreeze, so I will go back and just go into my vault and unfreeze her. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to here and attack. This Grandmother Cuss, and we're going to get Katrine in there. And we'll get all in OO. I'm not sure which one is. There we go. Couldn't remember her card art. And Polaric. Okay, now I'm going to run these. Not really looking for damage, just looking to clear nodes. And that was not great. So who did I hit with? I hit with Cass. So we're going to go ahead and indicate failed. Katrine. All. And Ovosicine. Polaric. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark my hits. And my fails. So I hit with Cass on Prodigy and Telepath. So okay, I had already marked them off, so we don't need to do that. So we already knew that that was going to hit. It was the only option. The rest of them I just had bummer luck with. So we failed with all on OO. Failed with Katrine. And who's our fourth? Who's our fourth? Polar Janeway, who I don't see in the list, so she must have gotten ruled out by one of those other, by one of the hits or by one of the other failures. So this is what we're left with. Gambler we know has to be human plus inspiring. So I'll go ahead and indicate that. Because if we mark these, we know that one has to be one of these. If we mark those are our only two left. So that's how we know that it's got to be one of those two. So that's, the long and short of how you run the Datacore tool. Hopefully this helps. I'll do a quick thing at the end of this video, just showing you how to actually get your data in if you can't when you go to update. If you can't, use your cut and paste because you're on a mobile device. I'll show you how to do that on iOS and Android real quickly. Okay, so real quick at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to download on Android, and then I'll jump over to my iPad and probably just honestly, I'll probably just hold this over my iPad while I'll just probably record it honestly on this. So here we go. We're going to jump over to Datacore, and here I'm already on the Fleet Boss Battles tool. Go ahead and refresh that, and we're going to hit that same link, Disruptor Beam. It's going to give me that same thing. Now, ideally, in an ideal world, I would copy this. So I've never been able to get incognito windows to work on my Android phone for saving files, which is where I run into problems in this demo. Normally player.json saves just fine in a normal Chrome window, which works just fine for me since I don't have anyone else using this device for STT, and I've never had a caching issue on my phone. But it may not work for some of you. That said, if anyone knows how to get this to work, feel free to post it in the comments. And open a new incognito tab. But it's giving me problems right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign in with it. And sorry if you've got the issue of multiple people using your device or whatever, but I can't show you the incognito way to do this right now. So it's going to bring me to this screen. I'm going to go back to that window again and click on that again, and it will reopen there. Now I'm going to just download this, hit download, and it's going to say, do you want to download it again? Yes, I do. And here we go, it's downloaded, and now I can jump back into this, and instead of pasting into here, the issue with pasting into here is that mobile devices simply can't carry that much data in their clipboards. So I'm going to upload data file, and I'm going to go to files, and I've already got it on downloads, and here's player 60. I've done this 60 times, or at least since I last cleaned it out. And again, now here we are. I'm going to do my favorite views, crew, not hiding, non-optimal, and we've got our crews. It looks like maybe they've cleared another. Well, it looks like we're on the final, the last combo maybe. But anyway, that's how you do it on an Android. And for an iOS device, I will do a quick recording for that. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to record this and try to hold it steady. I don't have a good way to record on my iPad, but this will give you an idea how to pull down for Apple. It's a little different on an iOS device. So here I am in Chrome, and you can't do it in Chrome. So I'm going to jump over to Safari. And now in Safari, you've got the same look. The only thing I use Safari for is just this. It's a garbage browser. But copy link, and then I'm going to try to open this in an incognito tab or in a private tab. So let me see if I can. Private. Here we go. Now I'm in private browsing, and we're gonna. Okay, so I don't know if you saw how I did that. I went over here and came down and hit private. So now I'm gonna paste that URL I just copied. Paste and go, and we're gonna sign in. And again, I'll have to enter in my stuff. And go ahead and my fingerprint ID doesn't work. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter my passcode. And we're just gonna look up for a second. Okay. So it's got that. And now we're back to here. So I'm gonna do this again and hit paste and go. We're at API. And of course it's taking me back to this, which is really annoying. And I don't know why it's doing this. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I pulled it. So here we go. I got it to pull. Just had to try a couple times. Now on this, you're gonna hit the share button, which is this little doober right here. And you have to go to options because by default, it wants to do it as JSON. So you have to tell it to save as a web archive. And you go back, and then you can save to your files. And I'm going to go ahead and save in my iCloud drive. I'm going to save it because I don't want what happens on my Android device where I get a million copies. I'm going to go ahead and hit replace. And now that I've got the file pulled down, I am going straight back to Chrome. There's a good reason for using Chrome. On your Safari, anytime you do anything, if I have to jump windows or anything, it loses everything that I've got in my Safari. So let's say I'm using the tool up here. I'm going to upload the data file. It's going to look a little different this time. It's going to be player. So grab that. And it looks like the web page now. And so here we are. And looks like they're making some progress from last time, from the time I just did this on my Android. But if I make any changes down here, like to mark any crew or anything, and then swap out on Chrome, it holds when I come back in. On Safari, well, it does seem to be holding. So maybe you can use Chrome. I don't know. My experience is maybe they've updated the when they updated the app, they fixed that issue. But in Safari, it was such that if you jumped out of the app and then jumped back in, you lost all your progress as far as nodes that you'd marked yes, or people that you'd marked as not that had been tried that didn't work, etc. Use at your own risk. I suggest pulling your player data in Safari, because you have to, because it's the only place you can mark it to as a web archive to download, and then in Chrome, using Chrome for your or DuckDuckGo or any other browser other than Safari for your actual Datacore experience.